A very good morning to all the students of class 11th Political Science. Students, as you know, we were doing the first chapter of our book Indian Constitution at Work, and the name of the chapter was Constitution Why and How. And we had already finished our around 3 to 4 parts. We had already almost covered all the important topics of that particular chapter. But yesterday, the information has come from our CBSE board for some cutoff of the syllabus from class 9 to 12th. So I'm talking about here political science, and I have updated or the revised syllabus for you. So it is very much important for you to note down these points, and you must be having that I think PDFs with you. So I'm just discussing here what are the topics which have been cut off and removed or completely deleted, and there are some chapters and topics which have been merged. For example, as we are doing chapter number 1 of this particular book Indian Constitution at Work, we are doing the first chapter Constitution Why and How. In this, now they have merged the topic of second chapter. This second chapter has been removed completely, but the topics and the important topics of this particular chapter, that is fundamental rights and directive principles of state, have been merged or added up to the first chapter. So now this topic of the second chapter I shall be taking up in the along with the chapter 1. In this particular video I will be starting that. Then I'm just giving you a view, you can see it. Then this chapter will be there, election representation. Also those chapters are there. Many of the important topics are there, but few topics have been cut off from these chapters also. So I will tell the details of those cut off topics later on, or I will send you the details of all the revised curriculum of class 11th political science in your class WhatsApp group, so you can see it there. So these chapters are there: election and representation, executive, legislature, judiciary. This chapter has completely been deleted or removed. Federalism, local government is there, but some of the topics have been cut off from this chapter also. So we shall be taking up only the topics which have been given to us now. This topic, constitution as a living document and a philosophy of the constitution, these were the two big chapters, separate chapters in this particular book. But now these two topics also we shall be taking in the first part only, that is constitution. But now we'll be just giving a brief discussion or an introduction part, that what do we understand by living document, or what is the philosophy of constitution. But previously they were completely the separate chapters. So this will be your part 1 book, in which three chapters have been related completely, and some short topics have been merged. And in these chapters which are here, some of the subtopics have been deleted, but the entire chapter is not deleted. Chapter is there, but we'll just go through it, what all topics we have to go through it. I will send all the important details to your WhatsApp group also. And this will be your second part, political theory. In this, these chapters are still existing: political theory and introduction, freedom and liberty, equality, justice, rights. But these chapters have been completely deleted from your syllabus for this particular year: citizenship, nationalism, secularism, peace. And we shall be doing development is there, but also some of the part or the subtopics have been removed. We shall be discuss that later on. First of all, currently you should focus on the first chapter, constitution. We had done 4 chapters, four I think parts already. So we shall be taking now the parts of the second chapter, including it in the first chapter itself. Okay, so you see it properly, and I will also send you to the WhatsApp group of your class. So this particular topic, fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution, this was the topic or the chapter number 2 of our book, but now this has been merged with chapter number 1 only, according to the revised new syllabus of the CBSE. This is constitution, why and how. In this chapter only we are now merging this particular topic, fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution, which is a very important topic for you. So you need to understand it properly. So I'm starting with the introduction. I'm not directly taking those 6 fundamental rights, that this is the meaning of these rights. As you already know, you have been studying it since class 8th, 9th, 10th also, so you know it very well about the 6 fundamental rights. But here we are going to also see the history and also see what is the meaning and purpose of these rights, how they have come up. So introduction, we are starting here. a constitution is not only about the composition of the various organs of the government and the relation among them. Here they are trying to say that in relation to fundamental rights, as we know, fundamental rights are protected by the constitution. So they are saying, as in the last chapter we read, constitution and the purpose of constitution, why we need a constitution, what are all important functions of the constitution, we had done in detail. But do we think that the only function of the constitution is to just show the composition of various organs, what are the three organs of the government and what are their powers, what are their limitations of the government, or what is the division of power? So do you think that constitution is limited to only these things? No. It is also the responsibility and the purpose of the constitution, or the objective of the constitution, to protect our right or to provide some basic rights to the citizens so that they can have a good lifestyle. So our constitution is not only about the composition of the various organs of the government and the relation among them, but a constitution is a document that sets limits on the powers of the government. The work of the constitution is also what it is doing for the citizen. It is putting set some limits on the power of the governments, as we read in the previous videos also, that constitution puts some limits on the power of the government so that it does not violate the some rights of the citizens, because government has so much of power that it can easily be dominant, and it can act as a, we can say, it can show its monopoly over its citizen. So the constitution is giving up a backup to all the citizens through the fundamental rights, okay, which cannot be violated even by the government. So we can say constitution is protecting the individual. How it is protecting the individuals? Through fundamental rights. There are some basic needs which we need, and those are fundamental rights. These are given to us, or the each and individual of a country, of a democratic country like India. This is given to every citizen to protect them from the powers of the government or any individual or any organization. And this constitution, or the fundamental rights, we can say, is part 3 of the constitution. Like we have a book, we have chapters. In every chapter we have different certain topics. In the same way, if we talk about, if a constitution is a set of documents or it's a rule book, in this rule book, chapter number 3, we can say, is telling us about the details of fundamental rights. What do we understand by fundamental rights? Why they are so important to the individuals or the citizens of a place? Who is protecting them? Constitution. Against whom? Against the powers of the government. So now the next, moving after the introduction, this was just the introduction for you. This is not in your book, but I thought of just telling you. Now this is the topic of your book, importance of rights. Before starting, what are those fundamental rights, how they have come up, who can put, how we are protected by them. It is important to know that what is the importance of right, why we need rights. To understand this particular topic, there are two stories given in your book, NCERT book, the story of Asian Games and the story of Marshal Lalung. These are the two stories. Through understanding these two stories, we will understand two type of rights: right against exploitation and right to life and liberty. Not understand only these two rights, we will understand what is the importance of rights in our life. Okay, so I'm reading those two stories for you. So this is the topic, the importance of rights. This is the first topic of your chapter, or we can say topic, rights in the Indian Constitution. So we are trying to understand what is the importance of rights in our life as a citizen of a country. What is the importance of rights? We are here trying to understand through the two different stories. So story number 1 is of the Asian Games in 1982. Remember the date? During the construction work of Asian Games, the government engaged a few contractors. These contractors employed a large number of very poor construction workers for different parts of the country to build flyovers and stadiums. First of all, to here, as we know, there was in 1982 there were Asian Games. Okay, so whenever there are some international games or like Asian Games or Commonwealth Games we had in Delhi, so a lot of responsibilities are there on the government. They have to work a lot on the infrastructure of a particular city or a country, like building of different buildings, hotels, transport system, or flyovers, stadium where the games will be held. So there is a lot of construction work. For that, the government particularly appointed few contractors, and these contractors employed a large number of very poor construction. They have written, and these contractors, they were given the responsibility for the different purposes to be done. Okay, and these contractors employed large number of very poor construction worker to gain, we can say, maximum profit. These contractors try to find the very poor workers who are ready to work on the very low wages, which are there is a standard wages which the government has set, but these contractors pay these workers very less wage as compared to the other workers, we can say, in the city. So their working condition was very poor, we can say, from different part, and they had come from different part of the country to build these flyovers and stadium or the infrastructure which was required. These workers were kept in very poor working conditions. So what was the issue here? They had come all from the different parts of the country. They were very poor, and they were being exploited by the contractors, as they were kept in the very poor working conditions. No proper food, water, working conditions, for no shelter. They were paid very less, and as which are being assigned, that is minimum wages decided by the government, but still those minimum wages were also not given to these workers. So this is the first story. So what happened when they saw this problem? A team of social scientists, these are the people who work for the society, and the rights, they fight for the rights of the people of the society, especially the poor people. So there was a team of social scientists who studied their poor condition. They saw the poor condition of the workers, and they petitioned a Supreme Court. They filed a complaint in the Supreme Court. They argued that employing a person to work for less than minimum prescribed wage amounts to beg of forced labor. Here, this group of scientists, they complained against the contractors that they were employing so many poor workers around the country, and they were paying them very less. Even they were not giving them the minimum prescribed wages which are given appointed by the government. They were working here as a forced labor, which is a violation of fundamental rights. So we can say this was the violation of the fundamental rights against exploitation. So we can say this was the exploitation of a fundamental right of any citizen, that is right against exploitation, as they were not getting the minimum wages which they should have got according to the government. So they were being exploited by the contractors, also living in the very poor condition. The court accepted this plea and directed the government to ensure that thousands of workers get the prescribed wages of their. So here the judiciary got into action, and they directed the government, ordered the government that they should see into the matter, and they should provide the proper wages to the workers which are prescribed. Okay, so this was the first definition, we can say, or the first problem. Then the another story is Macha Lalung was 23. This is a person. He is from Assam. He was 23 years old when he was arrested. A resident of he lived in a village, Chuburi village of Moregaon district in Assam. This is a place in Assam. Why he was arrested? Machar was charged of causing grievous injuries. He must have hit someone badly or injured someone. He was found mentally too unstable to stand trial. But at the time he was arrested, he was not mentally fit. He was sent to the hospital. It's written here. He was sent as under trial to Lokpriya Gopinath Barodaloi Mental Hospital in Tejpur for treatment. So he was sent to the mental hospital for treatment because still he was not fit. He was not. He cannot stand his trial. So Marchand was treated successfully, and doctors wrote twice to jail. So when he was fine, he was treated successfully. The doctors of the jail has twice informed the jail authorities, that is in 1967 and in 1969. They said that this accused person Malchand was fit now and could stand his trial, but no one paid any attention. But no attention was paid to this problem. Marchand Lalung remained in jail in judicial custody. So he remained there in hospital or judicial custody. Marchand Lalung was released in July. Finally, he was released in 2005. He was arrested in so he was 77 then. He was arrested when he was 23 years old, and when he was released in 2005, he had been he had age of 77 then. He spent 54. This was the number of years he has spent in jail. It means he had wasted all his life in the jail or under the custody. During his case never came up for hearing. As his case never came up for hearing, no one paid any interest towards his case. He was freed when the team appointed. He got freedom from this custody when a team of National Human Rights, this is a team commission, intervened after an inspection of the under detained in the state. When a team came and they intervened in this particular case, then he was released in 2005. So we can say Machal's entire life was wasted. So after reading this case, his entire life, he was 23 and when he was released, he was 77 years. It means his whole life was wasted because a proper trial against him never took place, because there was no proper trial against him. He was not brought to the court for his particular case. Our constitution gives every citizen the right to life and liberty. So our constitution gives this particular right to every citizen, life and liberty. This means that every citizen must also have the right to fear, and under life to liberty every citizen has a right of fear and speedy trial. Marchal case shows that what happened when rights granted by the constitution are not available in are not available in practice. So they are saying, of course we know there are different rights in a particular country like democratic country like India, but it is very important that those rights are functional, they are implemented properly, and first of all they should be recognized by the government as well as by the people, as these are my rights, and if they are violated we have some remedy to fight against it. So Malcolm case shows that what happens when rights granted by the constitution are not available in practice. So these were the rights, right, life and liberty, they were given by the constitution but they were not in practice properly. That is why a person like Marston has to spend his whole life in the custody. So these are the two examples of what is the importance of right. Now next topic coming up is Bill of Rights. So here we will try and understand what do we understand by Bill of Rights. Start from here. A democracy must ensure that individuals have certain rights and that the government will always recognize these rights. If we are living in a country like India, which is a democratic country, so every country which is following a democratic method must ensure, any democracy around the world must ensure that individuals or the citizens living in that particular country they have certain rights. Okay, all the citizens living in a democratic country, they must have some rights, and those rights which have been ensured should be that the government will always recognize. That right should be recognized by the government. Okay, therefore it is often a practice in most democratic countries to list the rights of the citizens in a constitution. So that is why in most of the democratic countries around the world, it is we can say there is a list of rights of the citizens which are written down in the constitution. Such a list of rights mentioned and protected by the constitution. When there is they prepare a list of rights which are to be given to the citizens of a country which is a democratic country, that list is protected and recognized by the government, and also such a list of rights mentioned and protected by the constitution, and constitution also protects such list of rights, and it is called Bill of Rights. That particular list of rights which the government is also ensuring and recognizing it for its citizens, for the good lifestyle of the citizens, that particular list is called Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights prohibits governments from thus acting against the. So this Bill of Rights, the rights which are written down in that particular list, which are also recognized by the government and protected by the constitution for its citizens, these rights are also prohibits governments from thus acting against the rights of the individuals. In this case, where the rights which are there in the bill, those rights cannot be violated even by the government of a particular country, because it's written here, a Bill of Rights prohibits government from thus acting against the rights of the individual and ensures a remedy in case there is violation of these rights. In case there is violation of these rights, there is a remedy, or we can say solution, or the way to solve the problems, or to find a way that what should be done if there is a violation of some of the rights which are there in the Bill of Rights of a citizen in a democracy. So this is the meaning of Bill of Rights. We can say it's a collection or a list of few rights which are given to the citizens of a democracy or a democratic country, and also protected by the Constitution. Okay, so this was Bill of Rights. So now I am starting the particular important topic, that is fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. So now we'll understand what do we understand by fundamental rights, especially in context to India, and that is Indian Constitution. During our freedom struggle, so we'll study the past of the fundamental rights. During our freedom struggle, the leaders of freedom movement had realized the importance of rights and demanded that British rulers should respect rights of the people. From our experience of the British rule, we can say that our freedom struggles knew the importance of rights, as during when we were the colony, we never got the rights or any sorts of fundamental rights. We had no participation in the functioning of the government or the British government. So at that particular moment, the people who were living at the under colony, they knew the importance of rights. So first of all, the very first thing which was in the minds of the freedom strugglers was that once we get the freedom, we are going to include fundamental rights in the Constitution, which was very must for the growth and development for and opportunities for each and every person of the society, irrespective of their caste, religion, etc. So that is why it's written here. During the freedom struggle, the leaders of the freedom movement had realized what is the importance of rights, and demanded the British rulers should respect rights of the people. Here, the Motilal Nehru Committee had demanded a Bill of Rights. As far we have understood what was Bill of Rights, a list of rights. Here, Motilal Nehru Committee, there was a committee of Motilal Nehru. That committee has demanded a Bill of Rights as far as in 1928. Okay, they had demanded some rights from the British rule in 1928 in advance. It was therefore natural that when India became independent, so it was very much clear, and we can say expected that once India becomes independent and we get the freedom, the constitution was being prepared. There will be framing of the constitution. In that constitution, we shall add up the fundamental rights. So we can say that there were no two opinions. There was no choice, no confusion. It was very well decided and planned. Once we get the freedom, there will be framing of the constitution, and in that constitution, there will be inclusion and protection of rights in the constitution. The constitution listed the rights that would be specially protected and called them fundamental rights. So the constitution listed, there was a Bill of Rights, we can say. The constitution had the Bill of Rights that would be specially protected and called them fundamental rights. So those protected rights for the citizens of the country like India, which after getting its independence, which will frame its constitution, will protect some of the rights for its citizens, and they will be protected, and those particular protected rights were called fundamental rights. So these fundamental rights are protected by the constitution and well recognized by the government of a country of a democratic country like India. The word fundamental suggests, so what is the meaning of fundamental they are saying here? Why we call them fundamental? Fundamental means any basic needs which we have in our life. Those are not about the luxury. Those are very basic and important things in our life. So the word fundamental suggests that these rights are so important that constitution has separately listed them and made special provisions for their protection, because they are so important for any person or any citizen of a country, especially country like India, which has been the colony in the past. They knew very well the importance of the rights, as they had no rights during we were under the control or we were the colony of British. So now we very well knew the importance of the rights or the fundamental rights. So they were very well protected by the constitution. The fundamental rights are so important that the constitution itself ensures that they are not violated by the government. So the framers of the constitution, they knew that fundamental rights are so important to a citizen that even they have set the provisions in such a way that even the government cannot violate the fundamental rights of any citizen. Or we can say there is a check and balance on the power of the government by the citizen only because of the fundamental rights. If there are no fundamental rights appointed to the citizens of a country, government can work the way it wants. It can show its dominance on the citizens, but we have provided some fundamental rights, because of which we can also have a check and balance on the functioning of the government. So this was the meaning and importance of fundamental word, why we use fundamental before rights. So now moving forward, fundamental rights are different from other rights available to us. So these fundamental rights which we are studying, which are basic to the every human being, they are very different if you talk about other sort of rights. While ordinary legal rights, there are some ordinary legal rights in the society for the functioning of the society. Okay, they are protected and enforced by the ordinary law. These ordinary legal rights, they are protected and enforced by ordinary law. They are not protected by the constitution. Okay, and they are not for only for one individual. Fundamental rights are protected and guaranteed by the constitution, but the fundamental rights are protected also and guaranteed by also constitution of the country or the government also. Ordinary rights may be changed. Ordinary rights can be easily changed or amended by the legislature by the ordinary process. There is a process of changing such laws with a change of time. If we feel that there should be a change in particular rules, regulations, or the rights in the society, there is a procedure which is followed by the legislature, and there can be changes in the ordinary rights. But fundamental rights may only be changed by amending of the constitution itself, but fundamental rights cannot be amended or changed. Maybe the whole constitution will have to be amended if we have to change the fundamental rights. Besides this, no organ of the government can act in a manner that violates them. So there are three organs of the government, as I have told you, important: legislature, judiciary and executive. As we shall study below in this chapter, judiciary has the power and responsibility to protect the funda. So here judiciary, courts have the power and responsibility to protect the funda. So who is protecting our fundamental rights? Of course constitution, but who is working for the constitution? Judiciary has the power and responsibility to protect the fundamental rights of each and every citizen. If there is any violation of such rights, it is judiciary who is to take the actions for any individual to protect his or her rights. So Constitution of India, part 3, as I told you, the chapter number 3, we can say it adds up to fundamental rights. It includes part 3 of the constitution, includes about the fundamental rights. All the information regarding the fundamental rights is given in the part 3 of the constitution, as I gave you the example of a book and chapter numbers which are taking up with the different topics. So in the same way, if constitution is a book, rule book, in the chapter number 3 we are studying about fundamental rights. So what are the rights? As you already read in class 8th, 9th, 10th: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 are the fundamental rights. It doesn't mean that only there are small 6 rights we have for every citizen in the country, but this is a very broad term. If you take each and every fundamental right separately, it includes lot of subtopics within it. So we will study it in detail. So today I shall be taking only right to equality in this particular video, and we shall be also taking these sub parts which are taken under equality, because equality, if we understand the meaning, in a narrow meaning of equality, we will understand, as you have been studying in class 8th, 9th. But as a student of political science in class 11th, you need to understand a broad meaning and broad concept of equality, including all these concepts within the equality. So we'll try to understand this in this particular video. So I'm starting here this particular topic. So this is the first fundamental right, right to equality. Here, to understand the meaning of equality, I shall be starting with the 2 examples which are given in your NCERT book. It's written here: consider the following 2 situations. There are imaginary situations, but similar things do happen and can happen. Do you think they involve violation of fundamental rights? So 2 situations are given here which happen or can happen in a society also. So do you think they involve violation of fundamental rights? So studying them, we will understand and see, is there any violation of the fundamental right of a citizen in terms of equality, right to equality. The first example is, Swadesh Kumar is visiting his village. He is accompanied by one of his friends. Okay, he is visiting his own village. This person, Swadesh Kumar, Along with him, his friend has also come to visit his village. Okay, they decide to have a cup. On the way, they stop and they think that they should have a cup of tea at a village roadside hotel. There is a roadside hotel. The shopkeeper knew Swadesh. As Swadesh Kumar is a local of that particular village, the shopkeeper knows Swadesh Kumar, but asked the name of his friend to know his caste. But the village people more importance to the caste. So the shopkeeper asked the name of his friend to know the caste of that particular person. After this, the shopkeeper serves a tea. After that, shopkeeper brings tea and one cup he gives to Swadesh Kumar and one to his friend. But the Swadesh Kumar gets the tea in a very nice mug, while his friends gets the tea in an earthen made of mud, in a earthen cup, because he was Dalit, because the friend of Swadesh Kumar was Dalit. This is we can say a caste in Hindus. Okay, so he was a Dalit, so he was served tea in a earthen cup. So this is a one situation was this. The other situation is an order is served to four newspapers of a television channel that they would no longer read the news on screen. So there are four news readers of TV channels. They get the notification that they will not be allowed to read news on the screen anymore. They are all women, and all these four employees are women. The reason, and what is the reason? The reason given is that they are above the age of 45. Their age is above 45, so they will not be allowed to read the news anymore for a particular channel of a news. Two male newspaper readers, we can say above the same age, are not barred from the presenting the news, but the two male news readers are still allowed to read the news and present themselves in the news channel. They are not removed from the job. Okay, so these two are the situations which are given to you under the right to equality. Now we will try to understand and see, is there any violation of the fundamental rights? What do you think? You must have understood, yes, there is a violation of rights, and what are those rights? We will try to understand under this particular topic, right to equality. So these are, we can say, these are the examples of clear discrimination. We can easily say there is a discrimination when friend of Swadesh Kumar was served a tea in the separate cup, which was earthen cup, where we can see the discrimination based on the caste. It's written one instance the discrimination is based on the caste, and in other it is based on the gender. When his friend was discriminated, he was discriminated on the basis of caste. And in the same way, the news readers, those were females above the age of 45, were removed. That discrimination was based on the gender, because the males of the same age were allowed to read the news further. Do you think this such discrimination is justified? Do you think this sort of discrimination in your society, if you see around, is justified? What would you think and what would you do? Now moving forward, right to equality tries to do, we'll try to understand these two problems here. Right to equality tries to do away with such and other discrimination. So here right to equality comes into action, is tries to do and solve the discriminations of such type, which we saw in the examples. It provides for equal access to public places. Under right to equality, we will say that each and every citizen of the country has the right to access to public places, like we can go to any shop, any hotel, place, or places of entertainment, wells, bathing huts, or places of worship. As we know, in the past, when there was so much of inequality and discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, there were many people who were not allowed to worship in a particular temples, or were not allowed to fetch water from the wells of other people. They had different wells, they had different places of entertainment. Okay, so now according to right to equality, there is no discrimination on the basis of public places like shop, hotels, place of entertainment, wells, bathing huts, places of worship. There cannot be any discrimination in the access of the grounds only of religion. There can be no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. It also prohibits any discrimination. So we are talking about right to equality. It prohibits any discrimination in public employment. There can be no discrimination if we are going for public employment, and the employment cannot be on the basis of any caste or religion or color or place of birth, on any of the above mentioned basis. The right is very important because the society did not practice equal access in the past. As in the past, or ancient India, we have seen there has been so much problem related to equality. There has been so much of discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, color, language, place of birth, etc. So now constitution gives the right to equality, according to which each and every citizen has equal access to all the public places, like we read, shops, hotel, place of entertainment, wells, bathing ghats, places of worship. Even no one can be discriminated on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. As we have also read in junior classes, practice of untouchability is one of the crudest manifestations of inequality. If we talk about inequality in the past, this untouchability was a evil practice which was practiced in the society, Indian society. This has been abolished. Now this practice has been abolished, and why it has been abolished? To give equality to each and every citizen. This has been abolished under the right to equality. So under this right to equality only, untouchability has been eradicated from the society, as it was a very evil practice. The same right also provides that the state there shall confer no little or a person except those who excel themselves in military. Yes, and still state has also conferred there shall be no title given to any person, so that there is equality. There shall be no title or importance given to any person in the society except military or academic field. These are the only two fields where a particular title can be given to a person, like in military, general, colonel, captains. These are some of the titles given to the military persons. In academic, we have also, like doctors, we add in front of many teachers, okay, who do PhD. Thus, right to equality strives to make India true democracy. So we can say right to equality is a fundamental right of a citizen which is working for to bring equality in Indian societies, so that there is a true democracy by ensuring sense of equality and dignity. So there is equality, sense of dignity, respect, and equality for each and every citizen, and each and every citizen is having the equal opportunities and representation in a particular country, and is being we can say protected and saved by its constitution and government. I'm taking the last point of this right to equality. Next rights we shall do in the next video. The constitution clarifies that the government can implement special schemes. It is about the special schemes, means we are talking about the reservation. Some reservation special schemes, or we can say some different positions can be given to some people, and measures for improving the condition, to improve the condition of certain section of the society which is very backward, which is lagging behind, like tribal people or scheduled caste people, which were lagging behind in the society, and they were not able to match up with the current society of our country. So various reservation in the job and education and with the various sectors have been given by the government, and with the consent of the constitution, to uplift such a society which is very backward. So in this sense, we cannot say that constitution is acting against the right of equality, that it is giving some different reservations and different opportunities to some section of the society, but it is to bring the societies which are very backward. So we can see here, must have wondered why there are reservations if we follow the principle of equality. If we follow the principle of right to equality, why do we have reservation? But there is a reason for the reservation, and it is very valid. In fact, Article 16(4) of the Constitution, there is Article 16(4) of the Constitution, explicitly clarifies that a policy like reservation will not be seen as a violation. The policy like reservation is not seen the violation of right to equality, because the reservation are given to the only the backward people who are not getting the opportunities to come up and match up with the other society. So this is the only part we are taking under the right to equality. In the next video we shall be taking right to freedom. Till then, thank you.